I actually think the Bucks have had the most underrated offseason amongst any contender.
Oh, good. Fuck.
And the Bucks are the biggest threat to the Celtics in the East. It's as simple as that. The Knicks made a move for Mikal Bridges, and I love the move. Here's where I struggle with the Knicks.
So he's falling off the Knicks again.
I just can't do this.
Defensively, the Knicks
guys, don't worry.
Can hold off Boston. Where's the other source of offense coming from the Knicks? If Jalen Brunson isn't an A+ every game, the offense is going to look sluggish.
Joel, I just want to stop you just real quick. When the trade happened, I asked you. I said, Joel,
that's not fair.
No.
In the moment,
no. That was because this cannot continue to happen. I asked you in the moment.
He's very reactionary, and then he sleeps on it.
And then I said,
he does sleep on it.
Who's that other scorer? Is Mikal Bridges that type of scorer? You looked me in my eyes, like the way you're looking at me right now, and you said, I believe in Mikal Bridges. So now I ask again, and he got you. I'm asking again because it's been a month since the trade. You have slept multiple nights. Are you having doubts about Mikal Bridges and Julius Randle? Because you also said Randle's going to show up this time. Was that just your Knicks galore and you were excited in the moment?
Randle coming back is huge.
Or you just don't believe? You're not all the way sold.
Also, Dante.
Oh, he's sex.
He's fire.
Mikal Bridges, I do believe in him. But it's a difference when it's matchup reliant. Mm. Against Boston, Jalen Brunson will be guarded by Drew Holiday.
Yes.
Mikal Bridges will be guarded by Jaylen Brown. If Jaylen Brown is guarding Mikal Bridges, I just seen what Jaylen Brown, how much he made Luka struggle.
Smaller though.
Mikal Bridges, he doesn't stand a chance if Jaylen Brown is playing at that level of defense. And Julius Randle, he's an X factor, but he's a question mark. I think the Knicks have an insanely high floor. And I think a couple of things need to break our way for us to get to the finals. The Bucks, they have the highest ceiling. Because when I think of a team that poses the biggest threat to Boston, it's one position. It's a dominant big who can really put stress on the interior of their defense. Al Horford's a year older. Kristaps Porzingis, he's unhealthy, and you can't rely on him. If he's good, I trust their defense more, of course, but Porzingis is injury prone. If the Celtics match up with the Bucks and they don't have KP 100%, Giannis is going to average 35 or 40 in that series.
If Boston isn't healthy, then the Bucks can win.
This thing, I just think...
How are they guarding?
Giannis can't beat Boston by himself.
This is the difference.
Brown and Tatum are going to go crazy.
When we thought about teams that pose the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics, it was Denver because Nikola Jokic is a dominant interior presence. Because Giannis is a dominant interior presence. Joel Embiid theoretically should be, but we know that he's inconsistent in the playoffs. That is what stands in the Celtics' way in the East. Facing a guy like that's a top 3 player in the world that can put that much stress on your defense. You look at what they got around Giannis. They got Gary Trent, 45% on catch and shoot threes this past season. Damian Lillard, who is still one of the best guards in the NBA, and if he catches hot, then that's a different Bucks team you're facing. With Chris Middleton, who just averaged 25 in a playoff series, he still got it. He just got to stay healthy. And Lopez, who can stretch the floor, it's impossible to stop the Bucks offense. And I think Doc Rivers, this offseason having a training camp is going to get them on the right page offensively. I think Doc Rivers is the Mike Tomlin of the NBA.
But what about the defense?
The defense, Gary Trent Jr. gets them better on defense. They are now better on defense because of Gary Trent Jr.
He's not Cone.
He's not. Yeah, I mean, listen, maybe he was on a bad team.
No, not really. But keep going.
Way more over Malik Beasley. Let's just get that straight.
Okay, not saying much.
He's bottom of the barrel.
All right, let him keep going.
Gary Trent Jr. is a good defender.
He's okay.
No, he's a good defender.
He's okay.
He's a passable defender.
Yes,
he's not moving the needle.
He should be the 5th best defender on your team.
Okay, all right. Giannis number 1, Brooke
the 3rd.
Giannis is their best defender.
We're gonna count Bobby.
Giannis is their best rim protector.
But this is the thing. I think that this could be the first year we see a change of philosophy with Giannis on defense. And that's what I'm counting on. Giannis in the past has been very vocal
on him, though.
About taking on challenges. When Jimmy Butler was smoking the heat, Giannis wanted to guard him more. but Mike Budenholzer never allowed it. There was always a restriction there. I think Doc Rivers acknowledges that we need Giannis to be the best version of himself on defense.
That's not the best game plan when most of Giannis' shots is free throw line under. You know how much gassed and tired he's going to be? I have to go guard the best player. And now, not only can I really can't shoot out here, I have to go straight in the paint.
He's still in his prime.
That's why you got Dame.
He's 30.
But he's still in his prime, and his motor is still high.
His game isn't the same as other players that can.
He's a top 3 player in the world right now.
No, but that's not the point. Let me say this to you. He's still probably the most athletic in the league right now. The strongest, maybe not, let's say, necessarily the fastest, but given his build, he's still going to be athletic enough to give the energy on both sides of the ball.
As a rim protector, to be able to guard the best
the perimeter.
Player. He's never done that.
I'll be honest, that's a tall task.
Drew, am I not mistaken that Giannis now win MVP and DPOY in the same year?
Yes, as a rim. I think you're not understanding what I'm saying.
Bro, like if he has to go out on the perimeter and now he's like guarding Kevin Durant, he's going and guarding.
That's a different task.
Just because you are asked to do something else doesn't take away from your initial role. Giannis could still be a rim protector, but in spot possessions, guard up.
We've already seen that though.
But we can see it ramped up. We can see it ramped up. Against a team like Boston.
I love Giannis.
Against a team like Boston, you need to stop the ball.
So
That's
Giannis
important.
on who?
They have so many guys.
Tatum?
You can put
Giannis on Brown?
You can put Giannis on Tatum and they still win the series because you still have Drew, White, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis. Like you still have so many, and you have no answers for half of those guys. Who's guarding Jaylen Brown?
I'm Boston, I'm happy with that.
In order to beat Boston, you need to outscore them. You need to play better offense.
That means you need to get stops.
But we just saw Boston lock up defensively. That's how they won the championship.
That's a fact.
But
that's
also
defense.
Their worst offense.
And Boston needs to get stops
series,
on the
and y'all
Bucks.
still 1-5.
Boston needs to get stops on the Bucks.
I mean, outside of Giannis, I'm cool with every matchup from Boston.
But Giannis
is a bitch to stop,
big deal.
Giannis is Giannis. He's gonna get his 30 to 35.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
Giannis can't
there
beat
are
the Boston
question
by
marks
himself.
around the Celtics.
I think Middleton can still get
specifically
his, believe it or not.
The health of Kristaps Porzingis.
But the health of Chris
Jaylen
Middleton
Brown
is the same health.
I mean, you can argue that, but
If Porzingis is out and Middleton is out,
the reality of the NBA is that every year there's something that happens in a certain matchup that could sway it. We see injuries all the time. We just see injuries in this playoff run. You can also take that into account when looking into the future, because it's all about
using
matchups.
that for Boston.
But even if the Boston Celtics face the Bucks and they're fully healthy 100%, you think that's an easy series?
Easy as in, I think I picked Boston easily.
And how many games?
Pick Boston in 6.
6.
That's crazy. It could go 7.
No,
it could go 5.
It can go 5. It can go 7. It can go 6.
It could really go 5. If you're telling me Porzingis is healthy, it could go 5.
Porzingis healthy?
He said both fully healthy because we got to make sure the Bucks are healthy because they've been banged up for years now.
It could be
both fully healthy.
It could be a 5-game series. It could be a 7-game series.
The injuries in the East for the top teams, they suffered through a lot of injuries. The Knicks, even in the playoffs, they suffered through injuries. The Celtics should be favored. The biggest threat to them,
they will be favored,
is a team that features Giannis and that could dominate their interior. Because the Celtics' Achilles heel on defense, which is hard to find because they're so great, is that interior presence on their defense.
I'll just say historically, Al Horford has played about as good defense as you can on Giannis.
I will ride for the New York Knicks.
He averaged 35 last time they played in the series.
It was pretty inefficient.
He shot 45% from the field.
Yeah,
and that's him not guarding the best player.
That's also him with way worse spacing and with all his players missing shots.
Oh, for sure.
Again,
but they're gonna bank
the Bucks
on.
Are not
they were
the
up 3-2
threat
in that series, bro.
It doesn't matter how much spacing you have. They're gonna send 2 at Giannis.
Yeah, and then you have 40% shooters open all over the court for Giannis.
Yeah, for sure. But now you have to go on the other end and get a stop.
Yeah, but I feel better about their defense this year more than I did last year.
Gary Trent?
No, and also Torian Prince off the bench.
That's not bad.
That's a good signing. He was top 10 in difficulty matchups.
He was a good defender.
So I think
that just means he takes
Darvin Ham just loved him.
I know,
trust him
but
with
he
his
was
life.
also a good defender last year. He's passable, and that's all the Bucks need. The Bucks just need guys that are going to put in effort. Malik Beasley was never going to do that and really commit to that role.
That's cute and all, but once you go up, and I know, listen, again, you're trying to pick a team to go up against Boston. Are you saying you see them as real contenders, just like the biggest threat to Boston? Because the Gary Trent, Torian Prince, shit, it's cute, it's an upgrade, but you're going up against the Jays. That's going to be a really tough match for them.
Both statements, regardless, are incorrect in my opinion. The New York Knicks have the answer for defending the Boston Celtics. They have two of the best wing defenders in OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. That is exactly what you want against the Boston Celtics with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. You have an elite number one option in Jalen Brunson. On top of that, Dante DiVincenzo just had a top 10 season ever in most threes made in a single season. And Julius Randle is coming back. You want to talk about interior presence? That can be Julius Randle right there. That's his series to really break out.
Honest,
and Mitchell Robinson, I didn't talk about. Josh Hart, I didn't even talk about.
Julius Randle is more of a mismatch stylistically and more physically imposed than Damian Lillard in terms of a Boston matchup.
In a Boston
there is
matchup,
nobody on Boston 1 through 4 strong enough to hold Julius Randle. Now, will he show up? That's the big question.
Because the Knicks have the answer defensively and offensively. They have an elite one in Brunson.
Dame is literally about to walk in and see Drew or White or Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum.
Giannis is going to see Horford or KP.
Well, Giannis is going to get his.
Giannis is Giannis.
Well, that's the interior
But the last
presence.
time he's seen Al Horford in them, he shot 45% from the field. You know how bad that is for somebody who takes straight layups? That's awful.
I was going to say, and for Randle, you have to at least respect his shot. You have to at least respect it.
I think you can make an argument for all of these teams. I think Philly you can make an argument for too. If they're healthy going up a series against Boston, just like you're saying, with Giannis, you're saying the same thing about Embiid. That's a really tough matchup for Porzingis. That's a tough matchup for Al Horford.
We've seen Embiid against Boston.
We have seen it. Horford is his
This is where I disagree, though. And I'm glad that you mentioned the Knicks offense as well, because I was going to say
last year.
We have to be fair to both teams. We can't just criticize the Bucks. We can't just criticize their defense and not criticize the Knicks offense.
I think it's going to get better, though.
The Knicks offense against the Celtics defense, you trust?
It's a tough matchup.
Nah, I don't. I don't trust any of the. I don't trust a lot of these teams offense.
Because that's what I'm saying. The Knicks defense, their defense is going to be elite. And they can stop Boston more times than any team in the East.
If Porzingis is out, that's a real chance that's a series.
Can the offense be better to win that series? I have a tough time
Randle
seeing
can't put a good showing against the Boston Celtics.
He's a needle mover. If he's regular season Randle and he's giving you all NBA type of work, then that could.
He's going to give Boston fits.
Yeah,
you just wanted Julius Randle to be traded.
But if I'm going to get Devin Booker,
oh shit,
you wanted to trade Julius Randle regardless. It wasn't just for
an upgrade.
What upgrade?
I said Devin Booker. The hell?
I don't think
you can't trade Julius Randle for any upgrade. Realistically, you cannot.
I agree with that now.
Well, he's the biggest. He's not the in terms of a New York versus
doesn't
Boston
matter.
matchup.
I wanted the Knicks to go and get.
You wanted
also
him gone.
Kevin Durant. Like if I could get Kevin Durant, these are no brainers.
You wanted Julius Randle gone. The thing is,
for upgrades.
If your argument for me, your argument to me is telling me to trust the Knicks offense against Boston because of Julius Randle,
that's not it.
That's a weak argument.
It definitely gets better though with Randle and Mikal coming in.
Correct.
Randle coming back. I think,
but Randle's playoff struggles have been.
And a lot of the Knicks secondary players are great catch and shoots.
Just from a style point, like there's nobody in Boston that can hold Julius Randle physically.
No.
Like there's just nobody. So from a style perspective,
Porzingis can.
Well, I don't think Porzingis would be guarding him. I think he'll play.
I think Jason Tatum could do a great job on Randle.
Strength wise, though,
I'm just saying, style wise, he has the best chance because Tatum is one of the strong. But Randle is if he's playing downhill, Randle, it's a different conversation. But like I said, playoffs, I don't know. But just from a style, like Dame, you talking about Brunson? What the hell do you think Dame's about to see? Dame, I think he has a terrible series against Boston. And he's never been this eye popper in the playoffs after the first round.
Is it fair to say that Dame and Brunson would both really struggle against Boston?
I think Brunson could struggle for sure.
Okay, so then
I don't know. I've seen Brunson this past season, outside of maybe one game, play excellent basketball against you guys.
So if that's the case, if Brunson and Dame likely would struggle against Boston because of their perimeter defenders, then you're relying on the other guys for the offense.
The defense.
And the Knicks have Randle and Mikal and their role players, and then you have Giannis and Middleton and their role players.
Yeah, but I don't think
there's one obvious offense that you trust more.
It's just Giannis and Middleton. You don't have to say the role players.
Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, those are great role players.
Is not good anymore.
Gary Trent Jr. is a really good role player.
Like he is, but Brook Lopez is not
the Knicks role players. The Knicks role players.
He's so far off from what he was 2 years ago.
But he's still a great shooter. We're talking about offense right now.
And we're like, I trust the Knicks defense. Like I trust their bench. I trust the 6, 7, 8 man over Milwaukee. I trust the fact that their defense is going to get a shit ton of stops. The same way how Dallas was playing defense. I think New York can play a better defense than what you love to say Dallas did against Boston. And I think they have the matchups to guard Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Now, the offense, of course, is in question, but you're walking in with the idea and the hope, if you're a Knicks fan, well, Randall looked like in the regular season a different player than prior. He can get better. We just brought in Mikal Bridges, who is a great shooter. OG Anunoby, great shooter. Dante, elite shooter. You know, we still have Deuce. Like, we have guys that can defend, and we're hoping that Randall can just say, you know, I'm due for one and have this series. But for Milwaukee, it's just, yes, we have one of the best players in the world in Giannis. But we've seen even the best player in the world can't win a series. You need role players, and outside of Dame,
the Bucks have great role players, bro.
Outside of Dame, in my opinion,
and Middleton.
I keep forgetting Middleton.
The Knicks have great role players.
The Bucks have cross your finger.
The Knicks role players are the best in the league, probably outside of
and Bobby Portis. I apologize. I don't really trust any of those role players.
Middleton.
I said Middleton. He's a star though,
but no, he's a role player. He's the third best player.
I don't know. In that championship run, he was their clear number 2.
Boston.
Who's their role players?
Derek White,
Drew Holiday.
So then you can use Middleton for the Bucks.
I mean, okay.
Well, are we calling KP a role player for the Celtics?
I think Middleton's like a low end.
I wouldn't do that.
It's kind of rude.
I wouldn't do that.
But I don't think you call Middleton a role. He's
not a role player.
He's not a role player.
Middleton is, but when he plays with Giannis and Dame, he's a role player. Yes, he is.
He's one.
He averaged 15.
All-stars.
He averaged 15.
But again, is KP a role player? Like, that's kind of what I would go back to say.
Drew Holiday's an all-star. He was a role player. You just said he's a role player for Boston.
Drew is a role player.
When's the last time Middleton has been an all-star?
But Middleton has way more offensive responsibility.
I don't look at all-stars as they made the all-star game.
I'm just saying Middleton is a role player for the Bucks.
Like, is Beal a role player?
Who?
Bradley Beal. Role player.
Yeah, he's a role player for the Suns. Absolutely.
I mean, okay. Middleton's a role player.
All right, that's fair. That's consistent energy.
You got Middleton. You got really just Middleton and Bobby Portis I trust. I don't trust this.
You don't trust Lopez on offense?
Offense, he's okay. Like,
to space, I trust him.
Am I crazy for trusting Gary Trent Jr.?
No, it's just I think he'll get played out of that series.
On defense,
Gary Trent Jr. get played out of the series.
I'm talking about Lopez.
Okay.
Gary Trent Jr., I don't know who you think he is.
Because if Brooke,
I really don't know who you think he is.
That's what he is.
I'm so confused.
If Brooke and Bobby continue to play drop coverage, they're going to get cooked.
Yeah, but no, Gary Trent Jr. is a great shooter. That's what I think he is, and they need better spacing.
So was Malik. So was Malik Beasley
too.
Yeah, but Gary Trent Jr. is a much better defender than Beasley.
They don't need more offense. They need a plethora of defense. They need defense at damn near almost every
Gary
position.
Trent's a way better defender than Beasley.
Yes, and that's like saying the 700th best defender is better than the 750 or some shit like that.
I think you're undervaluing Gary Trent's
you're just
defense.
overrating him.
No.
You need to pick somebody to beat.
No.
Why? Like, it's
Gary
just
Trent's a good ball player.
How you're not like? How do you think Milwaukee has a better chance than New York? It's just crazy.
No, that is nuts.
It's crazy.
No, I think
to me.
they do because they have the top end talent with Giannis and Dame. Those are two elite offensive creators.
Jalen Brunson.
I don't trust the Knicks offense against the Boston Celtics defense.
Do you not worry about the floor of Milwaukee at all? Just the floor of the defense being a bottom 10 unit in the league, and no matter how much offense you have to be able to put stops together.
Well, the floor of the Bucks is
low.
Them being unhealthy. That's what the floor is.
Unhealthy, yes, but just being a bad defensive team.
I don't think they'll be a terrible defensive team this year. I don't think so.
The Knicks give you such a safe just room with that defense, that perimeter. Like, it's really tough because I get it with Giannis. You could go bar for bar with Boston offensively, but we just saw Boston. They could outshoot anybody. I still have a lot more faith they can outshoot against the Bucks. Yeah, but just Milwaukee, I don't have much faith in them getting stops together. If you could just get stops on Boston, you need to do that at some point in the game.
And we talked, Riv mentioned Dallas, about Dallas's defense and how is it elite. And of course, the Knicks have better personnel. They have better ball stoppers. I trust the Mavs offense over the Knicks offense because they have Luka and Kyrie.
No shit.
Specifically just Luka. The Knicks, given their offensive personnel, are really going to struggle against the Celtics defense. That's what I'm saying. And the really conclusion of this conversation is that I value offense more than I value defense. I value a high-level offense, and you get timely defensive stops. I think the Bucks have a better chance against the Celtics because they'll be able to put up more points.
What's the Dame do against the Knicks?
The high-level offense for the Mavericks did not put them in a competition with the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, because the Celtics defense was so elite.
But their offense was not elite, and they still won.
If Jaylen Brown did that to Luka, what do I think he would do to Brunson?
But you just said offense matters more.
So what is he going to do to Dame? Why'd you stop?
I think he'll play good on Dame. We've already seen it.
So then,
but the difference is that
what's the difference?
The difference is that Brunson is the primary creator for his team. So if you stop the head of the snake, everything else.
Do you think Dame?
But the rest of the role players around Jalen Brunson are really good catch and shoot.
I thought he played really well. He averaged 30.
What do you think his percentage was?
That's probably average percentages.
43.
He had some great games. He had some bad ones. He played hurt in that series.
43% from the field.
Towards the end, he got hurt in that series.
Who are you talking about?
Dame.
Was it 43%? Did I cook?
I'll tell you right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I thought it was low.
Well, he was weird because he would have halves and score nothing.
Oh, it was close.
And then he'd have halves, he'd go up for like 30.
Yeah, but I know even if that playoff series you're using to criticize Dame, I think Dame, the thing is that he's playing defense. He's playing off of Giannis. The Celtics' primary focus is stopping Giannis. Then it's Dame.
I mean, Giannis
the Celtics'
didn't play in
primary focus.
Series.
We talking about the Celtics and the Bucks matchup.
Oh.
The Celtics, if they match up with the Knicks, the primary focus is stopping Brunson. Then everybody else. If you take Brunson out, you're taking away the best offense creator, and that's what I'm saying.
Can you just take Brunson out of a game at this point in his career?
You need the personnel to do it.
Mm-hmm. But can you just take him out of a game?
You can make it difficult. I think Brunson is a special offensive player. But Drew Holiday is a special defender, and Jaylen Brown is a special defender.
Do you trust? I'm sorry to cut you off. You said you trust the Mavericks defense. The Mavericks offense more than the Knicks. Do you trust them more in a matchup against the Celtics? Because I think you can make the argument that if you have more spacing, sure, you can make the argument for the Bucks too. If you have more spacing on the court, if you're Milwaukee, if you're New York, even if you're Philly, because what we saw with Boston was once they put Tatum on a big, the pick and roll didn't work. The 3-point shooting wasn't falling because they don't really have great 3-point shooters. So if you're able, Boston, who has such great perimeter defenders, to lock in on Luka and Kyrie and the rest of the offensive talent isn't that great, I think you can make the argument for New York or Philly, who has actual options outside their top two who could hit shots.
New York has better role players and better shooters, so they can get a more consistent offense because the Mavericks went ice cold. They had their worst series of the playoffs by far.
Though.
Yes, but there was a lot of energy in stopping Luka and really helping in on those gaps. I think that Boston, this is not a knock on Brunson, but because he is shorter, it is easier to just put one guy on him.
It's easier to guard him than Luka.
Yes.
One guy.
You have to throw the house at Luka and really do everything possible. At Brunson, it's the same way. They blitz him a lot. No, for sure. But I think when you have Drew Holiday and Derek White, those aren't bad matchups for Brunson, but they were bad matchups for Luka because Luka can outstrength them. With Brunson, that won't be the case. They can match up really well. And then if you throw a bigger body on Brunson like Jaylen Brown, who has the foot speed to still keep up and is really strong, that matchup could get really ugly for Jalen Brunson.
I don't know, man. Again, I've only seen one game this past season where Brunson overly struggled. Brunson has played well against this Boston Celtics defense with three of the best perimeter defenders.
He had some ugly games in the Pacers.
I don't think Jalen Brunson would struggle with Derek White.
In the Pacers series, did he play like shit?
He has some really inefficient games.
It's just Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown.
Because they were up 2-0. If OG doesn't go down, who knows what happens with that series.
He has some games.
Defensively,
Aaron Nesmith and Kelly Oubre were the two best defenders on Brunson in the playoffs. They played really great defense on him.
So the last game he got hurt was 6 for 17. The game before that, 11 for 26, 18 for 35 solid, 6 for 17, 10 for 26. First two games he was really good, but he had some games where he was just inefficient. Mm-hmm. Like obviously it's going to be a different team. He's not going to have as much. I mean, of course he can have a ton of offensive load, but guys were going down left and right where you just did not have the same type of faith that you have in the role players and shooters you have out there now. But yeah, he had some inefficient games, but again, he had 2 40 balls too. So.
And if Randall's back, and now you added McHale, there's at least some type of secondary help that he can go to.
I don't think a team that beats Boston is a perimeter-oriented team. It's not going to be that.